All right, everybody, welcome to Fit Talk with me, Brian Sperduti, and I am interviewing one of my successful, crazy strong, crazy fit clients, Jazmine Osborne. And she's going to do a little Q&A with me and tell me a bit more about herself, what she did prior to training to me, if she even likes training with me, all that good stuff. So, Jazz, thanks for joining me on this interview. And I don't know anything about you prior to training you. So I really never got a background from you. I mean, I got like a new client information packet, but I never really got to ask questions that I want to kind of get into today. So I guess the first question I have is, did you play sports in high school?
I did not. Nope.
Really?
Nope. No sports, no drill, no nothing.
Really?
Yeah.
What did you do? Were you mostly just more of a study kid? Just like...
Yeah, studying, hanged out with friends, social, no
Yeah.
sports or anything like that. Yeah.
Really? You didn't work out at all?
Nope.
Really? What got you into working out then?
I was always really heavy as a kid. Even growing up, even as an adult, I was heavy. Like my biggest was 240 after I had my last daughter. I'm just tired of being that heavy. So I started working out, lost weight. Of course, went through my ups and downs and pretty much been at it since then.
Yeah, that usually happens with ups and downs and stuff like that. The struggle, I was a heavier kid growing up too. I was put on migraine medication as a kid. And one of the side effects was like crazy appetite. I mean, for breakfast, my usual breakfast was a bowl of Rice Krispies with a Pop-Tart with a bologna sandwich.
Oh wow!
And that was before I got to school to have breakfast. You know what I mean? I was that kid that was smuggling cookies in their pockets during class. I was that kid. When did you start working out, and then what did you initially start doing when working out?
It's been about 5 years now. I started with Terrell, Dizzle 365. Doing like boot camps. It started with like a 30-day challenge, like January, I think it was like 2015. Started with a 30-day challenge and lost a lot of weight with his program. And that's about it. Started ever since then. The first year I lost a lot of weight, and then the second year we went into a little weight, training with weights and that after the classes. And met you 2 years ago?
I think it was 2 years. That flew by, right?
2 years now, yeah.
During that time, was it strictly just workouts, or were you tracking nutrition, or did you have what did you have in place on that end? Because, I mean, to lose that amount of weight, I mean, you know what I mean? I'm guessing there was some type of nutritional component and a lot of exercise.
Yeah, I tried pills, of course, like the Hydroxy Cut, Slim Fast. Yeah, I tried all that.
I almost passed out in a Rite Aid. Hydroxy Cut. Yeah, that's what I said. I'm gonna stop taking pills.
Yeah. Diet wise, when I was doing the 30-day challenge, though, it was a strict diet. Like I was eating plain oatmeal every morning, egg whites. It was a strict diet. Yeah. Basically chicken breast, vegetables, rice, stuff like that. A lot of cardio, 2 a days.
Gotcha. I feel like during that, I've been in gyms since forever, but there was that era where you had like that diet that the trainer gave you, and it had those like 6 or 7 different foods of oatmeal and eggs, chicken breast, broccoli, asparagus, tuna, and then you get like a protein shake at the end of the day, and then that was just it.
Right.
I mean, I remember being in college and just carrying tuna with me all the time. Like,
yep, tuna. Yeah.
To this day, I can't eat tuna. It grosses me out. It grosses me right out. And then, we started training roughly about 2 years ago. Did you do any intense resistance training? I mean, because everybody sees your videos now. I mean, it's crazy. But did you do anything to that effect prior, or was that strictly just kind of boot camp and kind of more like lighter weight, or?
Not as heavy as I'm going now. We did do some resistance training with weights, but it was a lot of like HIIT training, a lot of circuits, but nothing like what I'm doing now.
Gotcha. Because all that stuff has its place. It's just a matter of, I kind of feel like people go from circuits and then they hit kind of a plateau. And then once they graduate into like that, like heavier resistance training, it's like, wow, just like
Yeah.
the next step. How was it at first? Like, I know when we first met, we did some programming. Did you find it, did you feel like in the beginning you were doing enough? Because I find a lot of clients, like I was training a CrossFit athlete and she was transitioning over to more bodybuilding, hypertrophy based training. And I used to tell her like, yo, that's enough. Slow down. Like, you're good. Some people, when they transition from the circuit boot camp and they go to that, like, do a deadlift and take a 3-minute break, they're like, I'm not getting enough. Like, was that something to get used to when you first started doing that?
It was, especially when you like cut my cardio. Because I always felt like I had to do like a whole bunch of cardio all the time. Like after every workout, do a bunch of cardio. So it did take some getting used to. It was different. Yeah.
Yeah, I find that with a lot of, especially with the cardio too. And again, that cardio, a lot of adaptation takes place and people don't realize after a certain amount of time, your body just adapts to that and you're burning, even though the machine or the fit tracker says you're burning a certain amount of calories, that's just telling you what you're burning doing 30 minutes. But your body, on the other hand, is becoming adapted and less calories are being burned, but there still is a place for it.
Right.
Were you surprised with taking, because you dropped a total of over 30, right? We're over.
Yeah.
I mean, with me.
When I started with you, I was like around, I think we started at 180.
Mm-hmm.
So my lowest with you was like 153.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Now, were you surprised that you were able to do that with taking the cardio out?
Yes.
Yeah.
Especially still eating all the foods that I was eating.
I remember having to yell at you a couple of times. Stop doing all the cardio, man.
Yeah.
And how was tracking the food initially? Because I know, we went from, now I don't know what you're doing before. You said you were doing like more of the same foods every day, just the chicken, the stuff like that.
So I never was tracking before. So the tracking was something to get used to. I've tried it before in the past, but I fell off because it was just, I feel like with my job, I wasn't focused. I just was making excuses. So the tracking was definitely something to get used to. But now it's like second nature. Like I track everything. But it was different in the beginning. It was hard trying to meet all your numbers. But it gets easier after a while.
I think there's that initial, like, it's kind of overwhelming at first because you have to track everything.
Right.
But I think once you get a couple, I say a couple weeks into it, it becomes second nature.
Right.
But also you're seeing change along the way, which is keeping you motivated. And it's kind of like, this kind of stinks to have to track all this stuff, but I'm seeing results.
Right.
And you probably, I don't know, you were also able to incorporate a wider variety of foods.
Oh yeah. Stuff that I wasn't eating before. Cereal, Pop-Tarts, stuff like that. Yeah.
Everybody does Pop-Tarts. Everybody does Pop-Tarts. It's like a universal, if it fits your macros, food. Did you find it was easier to adhere to with the variety?
Because you don't get bored, and I was able to switch it up a lot. Something different all the time. Wasn't having the same stuff. So yeah, for sure.
I find that the biggest difference to working with clients is weight loss is pretty easy. We know, just kind of eat less. You know what I mean? A lot more goes into that, but it's just kind of like eat less. But I think when you give people a diet, the adherence to stick to that is just too tough. So I find like the more flexibility you can give people and give them some little rules to follow along the way, they have a much higher chance of adhering. Not to say we're never going to binge, because it happens.
Right.
I find that people tend to have a better adherence to it.
I agree.
Now, how is it with your job? Because you work a pretty demanding job in prepping. Like, what's your schedule to stay on track as far as food?
So usually in the morning, like on days that I train with you, I don't eat until I get home from working out. And then I'll eat when I get home from working out. I have breakfast. I usually go, because I'm a home care nurse, so I'm usually on the road. So I try not to eat when I'm out because it's all bad out there. So I'll take a snack with me. I eat a heavy breakfast, take a snack, and then I come home for lunch, have my lunch, have another snack and dinner or whatever like that. But that's pretty much how I stay on track.
And that's huge too, because I always tell people too, it comes down to, there's no magic weight loss schedule. You know what I mean? Like, your schedule is your schedule with eating. When you said like, I don't eat before the gym,
Right.
When I train, you train early in the morning. When I train early in the morning, I can't eat. I can't. I get an upset stomach. So,
Yeah.
for people that think like there's some magic formula of you have to do this many meals every 2.5 to 3 hours,
Yeah.
or your metabolism will slow down. It's like, no, that's not
No.
real.
Yeah.
Not a real thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's why I
Meal
think
prepping helps too, though, a lot.
Oh yeah.
Having the meal preps ready and right there for you. Don't have to do the math. The numbers is there.
And you tried a couple different ones, right?
Right. Yep. Probably pretty much all of them.
I think we all did. Which one? You were using a new one now, though, right?
Yeah, I use Buffalo Fitness Meal Prep.
Yeah.
Griffin. Yeah, he's pretty good. I like his meals. Yeah.
You said they had now, is that more, because I mean, we've tried, and again, I always say, like, I treat meal prep services like restaurants. Like, if I want this type of food, I'm gonna go here. If I want this type, I'm gonna go here. And then you kind of have your favorites in there.
Right.
But is that more of a is the food, is it pre-frozen, or is it more?
No, it's all fresh.
Oh, cool.
So I usually get my meals on Sundays. I put my order in on Wednesday, but he also has it where you can call and order the same day as well, and have it freshly made for you.
Yeah.
He has all the numbers and everything on his, on his website. And then I go to Nutrition 95 for my desserts.
Yeah, everybody does.
Yeah.
Everybody. Yeah.
Right.
Everybody goes there for the pies, and
yeah.
The meal prep companies, we have so many where we are. I mean, we really do. There's so many in this area. I always tell people, like, if you get stuck in a bind, you don't have your lunch. I mean, come on, you can't pop into one of these places.
Always somewhere you can, yeah.
I mean, it's too easy to do. Too easy to do. Now, what habits have changed, like, through this whole process? Like, do you have any habits in place? Like, I know for me, like, I know, like you were talking about prepping your meals prior to, like, do you have a certain sleep schedule you try to stick to, or do you just have like certain days do you usually prep your meals? Didn't you say that?
I just know, well, since I'm doing the meal prep company, I just have to put my order in by Wednesday, and I pick up on Sunday.
Gotcha.
In between there, like, I'll make my own lunch, or a sandwich or something like that, or a salad, and on my own, and I do my own breakfast in the morning. Sleep is all over the place. I usually go to bed really late, and so.
And you get up, well, on the days you get up and you train with me early, do you get up that early normally, or is it just on training days?
Just on training days that early. Yeah. On a normal day, I'm probably up about 7:30, 8 o'clock. Yeah.
Okay. And for people that don't know, we're all stuck in the house right now, so.
Right.
So it's crazy right now.
For me, I still gotta work, so.
Yeah, that's true. And you got a nice home gym, so you.
Right.
I got 2 bands, so this is going great for me over here. Now I remember. Now we worked your way up to some pretty big numbers. I want to say your best squat was 265. Or was it?
I think we got up to like 275. 275. Yeah.
How did that feel, getting under the bar with 275? Because now I feel like when you squat now, you make everything look easy, and people get at you because you make it look so easy. But, like, were you nervous initially? Like were you afraid to, like, a lot of, especially females, are afraid to lift because they think they're going to get bulky? Like, did you have that? Did you have that fear when you first started lifting heavier weights, coming from like a boot camp HIIT background? Or were you kind of like, no, whatever happens, happens?
Yeah. Yeah, I was never scared that I was going to get like a man. No. Yeah. But it felt good lifting at 275. I didn't think I could do it. Yeah, I was nervous, but
I think
it's heavy. It wasn't easy.
No. And I think that's something too. It's challenging when it's challenging when you get under that heavy a weight, because I do think it takes a certain type of person to challenge himself and put super heavy weight on their back, or bench press that heavy, or deadlift that heavy. But you also don't realize the cardio aspect that goes into that. Like, when you're taking sets on the squat and stuff like that, you're out of breath when you get out of it.
Yeah, you're winded. Yeah, right.
And then you hit what was your max dead that we hit? Didn't you get And by the way, that's when we were deadlifting with Sal, you got pretty close. Did you pull over 3? Or did you pull 290?
It was right under 3.
Yeah. And mind you, that's.
And I think, remember, we were scared. I think he said I was scared of the weight because you told me the number. Yeah.
Yeah. He just looked at me. He's like, She was intimidated by the weight. He had it. And then he just walked away. And I was like, where are you going? But that's untrained. We were just messing around.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And then your max bench was?
135.
Did you have a 45 on each side?
Yeah, so I think it was 135 is my max for benching.
Yeah. And what's your favorite lift? What's your favorite movement out of all that? What's your favorite movement out of the big three? I mean, obviously everybody likes
squats,
but
yeah, leg day is my day. Yeah, I love
Mhm.
leg day.
You got to be a special kind of person to like leg day. I always say leg day is like game day. Like I don't want to talk to nobody. It like just let me do what I got to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's something about leg day. I love leg day.
Yeah. Now, and I always tell people you're different because you're kind of a hybrid. Because one, you had really, really good success when we just were doing general weight loss.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, you had like a tremendous strength increase. So like we had kicked around and still do. I mean, kicked around doing a powerlifting. Then you would even kicked around, competing.
Right.
You have that body type and that frame to absolutely do both. So I mean that's still on the table, right? I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not putting you on the spot in front of the live audience, but I think that's going to be interesting because I think both are going to go hand in hand with you because you got a lot of what they call newbie gains right off the bat,
Mm-hmm.
and then we started adding in more structure, but you're still able to, like you have that body type where you're able to do both, and that's going to benefit you on both ends,
Right.
which is really cool. And the other thing I wanted to talk about too was we were in a caloric deficit for quite a while with weight loss.
Long time. Yeah.
Yeah. And then we started this reverse recovery phase. And I was talking to another trainer about you the other day because we were talking about reverse and recovery. And I'm like, we've upped her calories by about 500, 600, 700.
Yeah.
Your weight wasn't moving.
No.
Which
for a long time. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna tell you, that's not natural. Like that's not supposed to happen. But I know we pretty much set in on a weight because we were kind of just in like a recovery phase because unfortunately you had a trip that's probably going to be canceled or planned because of everything that's going on. Were you surprised even with not doing cardio, and then you're like, yo, this dude wants to up my calories?
Yep.
I mean, did that freak you out a little bit?
You did, because I could have sworn my weight was going to go up every morning when I got on the scale. I knew it was going to go up, but it didn't. Yeah. Stayed the same, and I was eating all that food. And that was an adjustment too, because I was in a deficit for so long. So having all those extra calories, my family like, you eating again? I'm like, yeah, it fits, so I'm going to eat it.
Yeah, right. I know, ain't it? Damn right, I'm eating again. It's pretty wild because too, we have you set ready. I think we stayed the same this week. We didn't change anything, but it just goes to show that like when you deal with people when it comes to like weight loss, there's that pre-dieting phase, which when we first initially started working together, we did a 2-week assessment, kind of see where you were calorically and weight-wise, so we had a starting point. Then you go into that dieting phase, but a lot of people forget about that post-dieting phase. I think that's actually where you see a lot of people gain weight back is they'll eat at a lower calorie intake and then think that's where they have to stay the rest of their lives to maintain what they've achieved, when in turn, the best thing for them to do is to actually incorporate that recovery phase to slowly increase calories and limit the amount of body fat their body's regaining due to that, increase. Because some people, if you look, they'll lose a lot of weight and gain it back because they just thought they had to eat so little.
Right.
Which is pretty wild. What is your favorite go-to food right now? You got one food.
I don't know.
You know what's hard to do because we don't even do cheat days, so it's hard to be like, yo, it's a cheat day because we don't do.
I know, yeah, because I eat everything I want to eat, so it's kind of hard. I mean, every once in a while I do have, my cheat pizza or something like that, but
it's hard to follow.
It is. It really is. I still eat everything that I like to eat: cereal, grits, eggs, like cheese eggs, bread. White bread, bagels.
I think that's a really cool thing too with like flexible nutrition is, like I said, everybody thinks there's these magic weight loss foods when in essence, at the end of the day, if you can control calorie consumption, you can control, make sure your protein intake's matched. Really, I mean, we've rotated back at times, right? We've gone from tracking just calories and protein. Did we do that, or did we just stick?
No, I've always been doing.
You've always been doing.
Yeah, protein, carbs, and fats, and fiber.
So what I'll do with some clients is I'll have them just track a protein and I'll have them track calories.
Okay.
But what's weird is I've been doing all three for so long, plus other things that we track. But I've been doing that for so long that I can't just track calories and protein.
Yeah, that is
throws me all off.
Yeah.
Throws me all off.
Right.
So what do you have? What did you hit today? Did you work out today?
I did back and shoulders. Hyper. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying with, man, staying on point, like even during the time is so important.
Oh, yeah, you got to. You have to.
I told people they call it, what do they call it now? Social distance. I said people need to just socially distance themselves from the fridge and they'll be all right during all this. Because I think a lot of people just think it's a time to just free fall to eat and stuff like that.
Right.
I mean, but that's the one thing I always, especially during this time with my clients, it's like, make sure you're aware, make sure you're sticking to the plan. Like you could still make progress. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you got to.
Time.
I think only the strong is going to survive through this.
I believe, and that comes all around.
Right.
All around. Listen. I don't think there's gonna be a lot of summer bodies. It's all over. Ooh. At least we got something to blame it on. But that's pretty wild. I mean, you're like I said, you're just one of those people that it's cool to work with because you can really push and you really go and you enjoy the challenge. You know what I mean? And that's why I wanted to interview you because a lot of people think, well, I want to lose weight, so I have to do nonstop cardio. I want to lose weight. I got to eat 1,200. Where are your calories at right now?
Well, we're at 2,100. I think we're at.
21?
Yeah.
And all these people think it's like a lot of people think that a ton of cardio, is going to get me where I need to be, and they avoid resistance training. But you've shown people that, you dropped 30 pounds, you changed your body composition, you're eating over 2,000 calories a day, your weight's still maintaining your body. I mean, that's really, really, really cool. And I wanted to interview you, like I said, to get your story out there, to break a lot of those stereotypes, especially when it comes to females and weight training.
And a lot of females think they don't have to eat. Like they always say, I don't even eat a lot. All I eat is this. All I eat is that. Like, well, you're not eating enough. Yeah. You got to eat.
And that falls into that where it's like eat a little and do a ton of cardio. And it's like, no, cardio is the number one catalyst for fat loss is caloric deficit. The number one catalyst for body composition change is resistance training. And you want to add some cardio in there when needed, where I think a lot of people flip it and they're like, tons of cardio, eat very little, and some resistance training.
Right.
And, when we say resistance training, we know what we mean. Like, you got to get in there and push.
Right.
And you're going to see that change because you're stimulating muscle fibers. Yeah, that's why I want to interview you. I wanted to get that story out there because I get so many people that will ask me about training, or I don't want to look like a man. I'm like, you got to be out of your mind if you think you're going to look like a man with resistance training. I don't want to put on muscle. I'm like, I've been trying for 20 years. Like, I still haven't put on muscle. Trust me, I wish it worked that easy. But so if people want to follow you, social media, how do they follow you?
Jazz Osborne on Facebook, and I think it's Jazz Osborne on Instagram as well.
Yeah, make sure you guys follow her. She puts out like a lot of good inspiring videos, content, all that good stuff. And definitely been a pleasure working with you. And I can't wait to see what we achieve once all this craziness settles down. Thanks for joining me on the interview today. And,
no problem.
And I'll be talking to you actually soon because we'll have to get back to the gym and start training again once this craziness ends.
Right. Okay.
I'll talk to you soon.
All right. See ya.
Bye.